I'm Robin Culpepper. I hope you can all see me over this. I'm pretty short. I have Au.D, and I am excited to introduce our next speaker. For myself, you can find me on YouTube. I'm also one of the Texas ambassadors, and then I also work very closely with Ava's Voice. So feel free to find me just if you need to connect or anything like that. I am excited to introduce Dr. Shanna Dewsnup, and she is going to go ahead and talk to us all about advancing technologies and different types of technologies.
Also, we just found out that it's Robin's birthday, so everybody wish her a happy birthday. All right, well, I'm going to skip ahead. I'll do a quick intro. Oops, I'm going backwards. Green button or red button? Okay. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. So I'll just give you a brief introduction to myself. So I started out in audiology as a mother, actually, who thought my son's audiologist was crazy. They diagnosed him with hearing loss, and I, of course, was very much in denial and did all of my own home hearing tests with like banging pans and making lots of noises and telling her all the time, I think he hears me just fine. So after I got past the denial stages and kind of accepted it and started thinking, okay, how can we move forward with this? He was fitted with hearing aids at 6 months, and I decided to go back to school for audiology. So in audiology, I thought, okay, how are we going to help him hear his absolute best so that he's the most successful that he can be throughout school and throughout his life? Had no idea that the Usher diagnosis would be coming down the line at that time. So when I was in my grad studies, I was studying genetics, and all of the Usher syndrome check boxes were just checking off. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think he has Usher syndrome. And so I kept pushing to have his hearing or his vision tested just to see, you know, does he have it? Am I just paranoid? Do I just think he has it because I studied genetics? But he finally was confirmed with type 2 Usher, type 2A. And so at that point, my focus was really like, okay, knowing there's a vision loss component, how can I really had to focus on technology, and that's kind of been my passion, is just staying up on the current technology and the brands and devices that I feel like work the best. In our practices, we work with all of the brands, so we're not brand specific. So hopefully this is kind of like speed dating, like breezing through technology in a 15-minute block. So if you guys have questions afterward, feel free to find me. I'm not paid by any of the manufacturers, so this is just purely my opinion on the technologies that I found have good benefits for people that have the vision loss component with it. So there are different types of hearing loss, you know, mild to moderate, severe to profound, and there's also different types of hearing devices that are appropriate for the different types of hearing loss. So typically, hearing aid users do fairly well until they get to more the severe to profound range, and then usually at that point they're starting to look more toward cochlear implants. So common complaints, which I'm sure a lot of people in here that have hearing loss can relate to, are just not being able to hear well in noise, conversations in cars, Uber rides, maybe you can't hear the driver if they're trying to talk to you, not knowing which direction sounds are coming from. So if you're walking outside, the hearing aid or the cochlear implant's way or ability to let you know directionality can be a little challenging. So these are just some of the things that I'm sure everybody here has experienced. So there's a lot of options out there for hearing devices, whether it be hearing, like traditional hearing aids or cochlear implant technology. So there's about 8 to 10 brands. Some of them have multiple labels. So some companies have a certain brand, but then it's also private labeled by other companies, which also means that they're locked. So if you have a private labeled hearing aid like a Beltone, Miracle Ear, those devices typically can only be programmed by the place that you're going to, and not by other practices. So if you ever move, or if you're ever in a situation where you need that device to be adjusted, you have to find someone in a similar type of, or a similar owned clinic, like a Miracle Ear or a Beltone. Otherwise, they won't be able to connect to the software. So the ones that I have up here are the main manufacturer names, the name brands. Those are the ones that typically are not locked, that can be programmed by anybody, any provider, as long as they have that name on them. And then there's the 3 cochlear implant brands right now. In the US, Cochlear, Advanced Bionics, and Medel. I know Au.D is one that is outside the US. They're not in the US yet, but I think they're trying with the FDA. So one thing that a lot of people don't know is that cochlear implants have a hearing aid component to them, and all of the manufacturers have this. So the nice thing about this is if you have good hearing in the low frequency range, or you still have fairly good residual hearing, but the high frequencies are what are missed, meaning you've kind of lost your ability to hear women's voices, higher pitched sounds. Cochlear implants are a great option if you still have the ability to hear the low frequency range. So they do have, they're called hybrids. They do have a partial hearing aid component and a partial cochlear implant component. So the first one, and I'm just gonna briefly kind of breeze through these. Cochlear is one of the cochlear implant companies. They have a variety of accessories. They have devices that fit on the ear, fit off the ear. So if someone doesn't want to wear one on their ear, they can wear the Kanzo. These devices have connections with your phone for Bluetooth now. They have a lot of accessories. So after the presentation, I would definitely suggest you guys visit the tables for the cochlear implant manufacturers. Accessories are huge, and it surprises me how many people don't use them. So the accessories are devices that are made for all of the hearing aid brands and cochlear implants that enhance your hearing even more when there's challenges in different types of listening environments. So this is the other off-the-ear cochlear device. They also have waterproof capabilities, so you can actually wear them in the pool and still be able to hear when you're in the pool with people that, you know, if you want to go to the lake, or if you want to hang out in the hot tub or something, you can still keep it on and hear and have conversations with people around you. Phonak is another one that works with Advanced Bionic. So Advanced Bionic is the implant company. If you have a Phonak hearing device, they kind of work hand in hand. So you can have streaming from Bluetooth go to both devices at the same time. You don't have to just stream it to one ear and not the other ear. Their newest device is great. It's called the Marvel, and it also has, they have that hybrid component as well. There's a lot of the accessories for Cochlear and Advanced Bionic. They work in combination with certain hearing aid brands, which I'll get into in a little bit. Medel is another one. So Medel also has an on the ear and an off the ear. They also work with the Roger devices, so they have accessories that help so that you can use the microphone capabilities and FM devices with those. All of them have rechargeable batteries, and they all have waterproof sleeves that you can use in the water. So the top 4 hearing aid brands that I just tend to lean more toward with people that have Usher syndrome are Starkey, Phonak, Au.D, and Resound. So Starkey's great because they're the only American-based manufacturer. They have a new product line called the Evolve, which has artificial intelligence in it. They have accessory devices like microphones that you can have your companions wear when you're at restaurants. They have a really great table microphone that is new, that is quite a bit cheaper and more affordable than some of the other Roger devices through Phonak. They also pair with the OrCam, which is an assistive device for people that have vision loss that helps to read what's on the paper, and it actually reads it through the hearing device into your ear, so it kind of reads to you what you're looking at. They have custom ear molds, so the ear molds are pretty powerful, so someone that has a pretty significant hearing loss can still utilize the smaller behind the ear style because most of the power comes from the piece that's in the ear. Au.D is one of the hearing aid brands. They have a really strong power behind the ear hearing aid. It's actually a little bit stronger than some of the competitors when it comes to people that need a significant amount of volume. So if you're using an ear mold with a behind the ear, those have a pretty big range to amplify sound if you're one of those that are kind of on the fence with a cochlear implant. All of the devices typically can be ordered or programmed to have their telecoils activated, which is something that's really useful, and some people have been using here to connect to the microphone devices for the streaming. That's something that most of your providers should be able to turn on. It's just a program that they can add in your device so that you can connect to things. Au.D also has accessories, so they have a microphone, they have a TV streamer, they pair to your phone. The nice thing about the ones that pair to your phone is if you use Apple Watches or if you use GPS, it actually can stream everything through Bluetooth to your hearing devices so that you can hear if you aren't able to see very well. You can have it talk to you. FAAA is one of those brands that I was talking about that does work with advanced bionics. So the nice thing about these products is if with Usher, sometimes people are kind of on the fence with cochlear implant candidacy, or some people might have an implant on one side and still need a hearing aid on the other side. So FAAA is a great brand that works in unison with advanced bionics. They have all of the same accessories, so the same ones that A.B. uses can be used with the FAAA hearing aids. And they did just come out with a waterproof hearing aid. So they're the only manufacturer right now that has a hearing aid that you can actually swim in, and the hearing or the receiver that goes on the end of it can actually, you could have it be open and still go underwater and come out and it will still work. So that's the only one that I know of right now that's not just water resistant, it's actually waterproof, and it's called the FAAA Life. So I know for a lot of people that have enough hearing loss, being in the pool with friends can be challenging. So especially if you have to take that device out or you have to risk getting it wet if you leave it in your ear. So that's a nice option. They also have the same Bluetooth capabilities and connections with accessories. And then Resound is one that works together with cochlear. So typically if someone has a cochlear branded implant, they can get a Resound device for the other side, and then they pair together through the software so that all the streaming goes to both ears at the same time. They all use the same devices when it comes to streamers as well. So if you had a cochlear streamer, it would work with the Resound hearing aid as long as it was compatible with the implant. And so I wanted to kind of breeze through that, but there's a lot more to technology. So if any of you guys have questions or you're not sure, feel free to come up and ask me. Like I said, I'm an audiologist and I love focusing on technology, and if you don't use accessories, I would definitely visit the cochlear implant manufacturers' tables because they have a lot of that stuff here that they can show you what it is, but that's just meant to really enhance your listening experience with hearing devices. And that is it. Yes.